Why, hello there! Today I want to talk about taking time off work in Japan, and this is something that I found to be a little bit different from my home country, New Zealand. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people coming from foreign countries will find it a little bit different as well. And of course, it's something that's really important for you to understand if you're looking to take time off to travel or go back to your home country or whatever you want to do. So today I'm going to talk about the different ways that you can take time off and the steps for each one. So let's get started. First things first, there are four different types of common leave in the Japanese workplace, and they are Nankyu, Daikyu, Byokyu, and Tokkyu. So I'm going to lump Byokyu and Tokkyu together for this video because I feel like they're similar enough to talk about at the same time. But apart from that, I'm going to talk about each of the three categories separately because they're all completely different and they all require different steps to take each type of leave. So I'm going to talk about each one at a time, starting with Nankyu. The first one is Nankyu, and that is your basic vacation time. I think it's pretty standard to get 20 days of Nankyu per year, and that's what I get. And the most important thing I think to know about Nankyu is that it does roll over if you don't use all of your 20 days in one year. So, say you have 5 days that you didn't use the previous year, you'll get 25 days the next year. So, this is super important to remember so that you don't end up wasting Nankyu days. Okay, apart from that, on paper it says that you can take Nankyu whenever you like, but that's not really the case. Your workplace can deny you Nankyu, and it's really, ideally, you should only take Nankyu when you don't have responsibilities at work. So, say during summer vacation, if you don't get summer vacation off, when you don't have classes, you can take Nankyu all during that period. However, of course, sometimes this can't be the case, and you'll have to try and take Nankyu when you do have things to do at work. The most important thing to do in this case is to get in early. Make sure that you know as soon as possible which days you'll be taking off, and make it your priority to go and let the people that will affect know. So anyone that you're working with that day, you need to go and talk to them, make sure that they can handle everything without you, and just let them know that you won't be able to make it in on that day for whatever reason. Once you've done that, you can fill out your Nankyu form and go to whoever is in charge of that. For me, it's my vice principal, and say that you have already spoken to everyone that this affects, and just get them to sign off on your Nankyu days. But I cannot stress enough how important it is to let people know as soon as you can if it's going to affect their day. So just think about it in terms of being like a decent person. You would want to know if your day was going to be changed because of someone else taking a day off, and it's nice to give your coworkers the same courtesy. And it's also really important so that you don't get those days denied, just to smooth things over in the office. So yeah, Nankyu is pretty basic. That is pretty much all there is to know about it. The only other thing to know is that some workplaces, I'm talking about schools specifically here because that's all I really know about, some schools will offer teachers like summer or winter vacation days that aren't Nankyu that you can just take off. But some places won't, so you need to check your contract really carefully for that kind of thing. My school doesn't, so if I want to take time off, even in summer holidays, I have to go into work every day unless I've filled out a Nankyu form for those days. So check your contract for any vacation time that isn't Nankyu. If not, you'll have to use Nankyu. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Nankyu, I think. Let's talk about Daikyu next. Daikyu is days in lieu. So if you work on a day that you wouldn't normally work, so for teachers that is a public holiday or a weekend, then you will get a day off in exchange for that at some point in the future. The most important thing to know about Daikyu is that most places require that you take your day in exchange within 3 months of the day that you worked, that you shouldn't have been working, if that makes sense. A super common cause for Daikyu is open campus at your school. So open campus will usually happen on a weekend, usually a Saturday. Mine is actually tomorrow. And the entire school will get another day off in exchange for that day. In this case, you don't get to choose which day because, of course, the whole school gets a day of Daikyu, and so it would be really difficult for everyone to coordinate everyone getting a different day off. So the school just decides and designates a day that everyone gets off in lieu of the open campus day. Apart from that, you might work some ALT or I don't know, English events like speech contests and things like that are held on weekends, and for those you will be able to choose a day within 3 months. Again, with Daikyu, the same as Nankyu, you need to let people know if you had responsibilities that day. Ideally, of course, take it when you don't, but if you do, let people know as soon as possible and make sure that it's all okay. So yeah, Daikyu is pretty simple. It's just a day in exchange for working on a day that you normally wouldn't. So I said there were three types and I named four, and now I'm going to talk about Byokyu and Tokkyu together because they are much more similar than the other types, and I think that they can be classified together. So Byokyu is sick leave in Japan, and this is probably the one that's the most different from New Zealand. I'm not really sure about other countries, though I have heard other Westerners say similar things to New Zealand, so I think you will find it quite different as well if you're a Western foreigner coming to Japan. So in New Zealand, you are sick and you need to take some time off work. So you just call your boss and you say, I'm so sorry, I'm really sick, I can't make it in today. And they sort it out for you. In Japan, if you are sick and you want to take time off, you must get a note from a doctor or hospital saying exactly how many days off you need and exactly why you need those days. Usually the maximum for this, or for like a cold or flu type thing, is 3 days off, but of course if you're more sick, you can get more time off. So it does not matter how sick you are getting yourself out of bed and you are going to that doctor to get that note. Some places are more or less strict about this. I've heard some places accept like prescription medication receipts instead of the note, but for my schools, they will only accept that signed, sealed letter from the doctor. So this is something that you really need to bear in mind. Now, there is quite a stigma I've found against taking sick leave in the Japanese workplace. I think that has a lot to do with the incredibly hardworking culture here. But I would really encourage you not to buy into this. So the stigma is that you should use your Nankyu or your vacation days when you're sick instead of sick leave. And I think that is just ridiculous. I think there's no need for that. Please, 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 if you are sick, if you can take sick leave and get that doctor's note, please do. It's not your responsibility to use your vacation days for sick time at all. Please don't buy into that. And the other thing that I mentioned in this segment was Tokkyu, which is special leave. Now, special leave is kind of vague and I haven't really learned very much about it. From what I know, it's for bereavement or loss. So if a family member or a spouse dies, you can take some Tokkyu, some time off. I think there's other reasons for it as well, but I'm not really entirely sure. But absolutely, if something happens and you need to take some time off and like go back to your home country or whatever, look into that. You do not have to take Nankyu for that. There are things set up so that you can do that without using Nankyu. So just bear that in mind if you need it, which I really hope you don't, of course. So hopefully you won't need to use Byokyu or Tokkyu too much. If you do, please, please take advantage of them. You do not have to use Nankyu for this kind of thing, and please don't be pressured into using it if you don't need to. So yeah, those are some important things to know about sick leave and special leave. So that is it for the three common types of work leave that I know of in Japan. There are other types, but hopefully you won't need to use them or know about them too much, and I don't know about them myself, so I'm not going to talk about them here. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any more questions about taking time off or just Japanese workplaces in general, please ask them down below and I will answer if I can. Apart from that, thank you very much for watching and I will talk to you later. Bye!